What's up, everybody? It's Pastor G. I'm in the house. It's Friday, June the 8th. I am excited about today. I'm excited about being here. I'm grateful. Today, I am very grateful for all the blessings of God that are revealed, that have manifested, and that are still on the way. I'm going to keep a grateful attitude. So should you. Be grateful today. This is we're going to continue in the blessing. Today's lunch uplift is called lesson. This is part 4, but I hope you guys had a chance to see my video from this morning called Faithful Friday. This is a day that's going to be full of faith. This is Faithful Friday. The greatest thing that you can do right now, this is what you should prioritize right now in these moments of your life, is getting prepared, preparing yourself for promise, preparing yourself right now. You need to be spending as much time as you can in preparing yourself for your promise. Things happen when preparation meets opportunity. There's going to be opportunities afforded you in the days ahead that you must be prepared for. And I would advise that these are the times that you spend preparing for the moment or preparing for the opportunity. When preparation and opportunity comes together, things happen. If you're prepared and no opportunity, nothing happens. If you have opportunity and you're not prepared, nothing happens. So this is time I really want to emphasize us getting prepared for this moment, that the blessings that we have are going to afford. You're going to see God's greatest exchange in your life, I believe, in this next season of your life, if you are prepared for it. So prepare yourself now. Get ready. Get ready. For those of you that didn't see the Faithful Friday video, you can go to my YouTube page, Pastor G at Network of Believers. I have it there. You can go to my YouTube page. You can watch it there as well live. I have 2 years of Uplift at my YouTube page. That again is Pastor G at Network of Believers. I firmly believe that this is the season of your life, that you're going to see the thing that you've been praying for your entire life. God is going to open the door for the opportunity to happen. So get prepared now. Get prepared now. Thank you guys for being in the house. I want you to share this video, if you will. Go ahead and share it to your friend list. Share it to everybody that you can. We need to hear uplifting words in this season. We're seeing the negativity. We're seeing the fighting. We're seeing the bickering. We're seeing all those things. We need to have some uplift in our life. So go ahead and share this to your friend list. Share it to everybody on your list. Tell them Pastor G is in the house. My desire is to uplift people through all of the negativity that we're hearing. Again, we need to hear some uplift. We need to know what God is saying about us. God loves you tremendously. God loves you. You know, Numbers 23:19 always rings in my spirit. It always rings in my spirit over and over and over and over again. What is that? God is not a man. So many times we judge God by the emotions of men, how they feel about a situation, and most of the time they're only giving you from the perspective that they have been taught. And they just live from that perspective. It's not for you to argue with them. It's not for any of that. But God, just remember, God is not a man. He's not emotionally driven. He's not emotional. He loves you. He declared his love for you by sending his son, and he did not change that love that he had for you. His desire is still the same for you. Prosper, be in health, even as your soul prospers. That does not change. Believe. You got to believe. Prepare in faith is number 1. You got to believe first that it's possible. Grace has produced something. The Bible says we are saved, Ephesians 2, by grace through faith. And that means that salvation comes by grace through faith. What does that mean? Salvation is not just the saving of your soul, it's the saving of your entire life. That's what it means. That's why Luke 19 says, the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. Not only them, but his emphasis is on that. He comes to restore your entire life, not just parts of it. So salvation, we are saved through grace, by grace through faith. What does that mean? Every part of my life, the salvation, the saving, the restoration, the recovery of is by grace. You did not produce the grace. That was a work of the cross. That was a choice of God. I did influence him too. And so I don't change his mind now. Everything I get moving forward is a grace work. I don't care how saved you are. I don't care how much you say I dot all that, cross all the T's. It's a grace work that gets us anything. Please believe that. And it's through faith. So everything I get in my life is produced by grace, but I have to have faith. And faith without works is dead. So in other words, I've got to start preparing myself for what grace is about to produce. I got to start preparing myself through faith for the opportunities that the blessing I have on my life is producing. I got to prepare myself through faith so that when grace opens a door, I have the faith to walk through. And this is what the Blessed series is all about. There's something that God placed on you that you got to get prepared for. It'll make things happen like never before. And I believe that is happening for you. You're about to see an exchange of God again that you've never seen before on the levels, in other words, that you were never privy to. I believe this is the season that's going to happen. So prepare yourself. This is what Lunchtime is Uplift is all about, is prepare you. Thank you, Anitra. Thank you, Terry Sanders. Thank you, Brother John Johnson. Thank you, Pastor Duran. Thank you so much, Adrian. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Mom, for being in the house. See John, safe travels. Brother Tracy Bear, what's going on, brother? My wife Teresa, Renee, Raina, Jose, all of you guys, Tambra White, thank you so much. Now, let's get into this. The blessing, part 4. Preparation. Get ready, get prepared, get prepared, get prepared, get prepared. We know what the blessings is really quickly. If you want to know the root of it, Genesis 12 verses 1 through 3, that is the root of it. The blessing. He tells Abraham, make your name great. I'm going to make your name great. I'm going to give you a great name. I'm going to give you a great relationship. I'm going to make you a great nation. I'm going to give you children that is going to create an incredible legacy for you. I'm going to give you great relationship. You're going to be a blessing. I'm going to give you a life that overflows. Yes, that's what you're living right now. Don't dare doubt God because the thing that you're suffering or going through right now does not resemble the blessing. You still got it. You still got it. You still got it. Then we discovered Genesis 26. Isaac, who is the receiver or the blessing, was transferred from Abraham into Isaac's life, and he lived in a moment of famine in the world. The world situation does not dictate the blessing, or does it? It cannot nullify. It cannot. The blessing of God is not determined by what is going on in the world at the current time. There can be lack in the world, but overflow in your life. That's where God is trying to get us to believe again. That's what we house the blessing. And so we know that in Isaac's life, it will cause you to live outside the current circumstance of the world. Now, Wednesday, I spoke on Jacob, and I want to go in line. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, because when we read in the scripture, and I always read scripture because I believe it's the word of God. I believe it's the foundation. I believe if I stand on it, God stands behind it because his word is what he stands behind. I believe I can base everything I got on God's word because it never returns unto him void when I know, in fact, what it says. God is obligated to his word. And so we were talking about Jacob, and I want to start from there because I want you to know something. Now is the time for you to prepare for what you already carry. You have the blessing. You never judge the blessing from your current circumstance. That would be the wrong thing to do because your current circumstance does not look, and this is the way that it usually began. In every life of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it never looked as if they were blessed in the beginning. So it's not strange that when you hear about the blessing on your life, that life circumstances at the moment are not conducive or is not favorable. You're not right now in the place you want to be. That's okay. First step is I've got to believe. I got to prepare. This is why it's important that you prepare. Actually speaking things out of your mouth, words of faith that defy your current circumstance. That's what we've got to learn to do and train ourselves to do. But this is very important that we get it. You have the blessing of God on your life. No matter what circumstances say, you gotta say, I carry the blessings of God because God gave me through grace. Ephesians 2:8, we are saved, salvation by grace through faith. What I got is a grace work. That was God's decision, not mine. God is not a man. I didn't determine if he would love me. It was his decision, not mine. So what happens now, my current circumstances, does not change God's mind about me. Please get that into your psyche to move forward from here. You don't qualify, in other words, for what God is trying to give you. You don't qualify for it. None of us do. Now, let's review Jacob. Because here's the thing. Everyone that carry the blessing, your beginnings are unusual. You have unusual beginnings. That's a sign that you have the blessing. I've got to get this. I've got to get this into your hearing. What you carry is very attractive. Now, when you recognize the blessing and you walk fully and God says, this is your time to walk in, what you carry is very attractive. I want to make sure you stay focused in this season because what you have is very attractive. In other words, you might not have been able to get the attention of anybody prior to now. But when the blessing of God and the recognition of it comes on your life, you become very attractive to several different things. This is very important that you get this. You become very attractive. You start seeing distractions from areas that you thought you would never get the attention of because you are carrying something that is attractive. The blessing of God is it attract all kinds of people, good and bad. But you got to recognize it's because of the blessing that you carry on your life right now. This is why I'm emphasizing focus, focus, focus. This is the time for you to really get focused. This is the time for you to really, because your beginnings are unusual if you're not careful. If your life has been a life where you've been rejected your entire life, this blessing that is attractive will cause you to misinterpret the presence of people that you're about to see enter your life. People that you thought you'd never have the privilege of being in that company. They will come with wise words to influence you to connect. It's not because they want to be with you. They see what you possess. This is why you got to see yourself the way God sees you. God does not determine the blessing based off your beginnings, off who you think, how you feel about yourself, that I'm not the one. Please, that's not the way God determined if you were going to carry the blessing. He made a choice on you. So he says, by faith, you're going to have to realize that I bless your life. I've given you something that you don't qualify for. Now, here it is. The blessing is very attractive. It comes to those that had unusual beginnings. Every time you read in scripture, every time God called somebody, they were the most unlikely. They were not the ones that everybody would have said is the one. Don't worry about that. Just get focused on what God has said about you. Now, let's reference this story of Jacob really quick as I move on into this blessing. You are carrying something precious. God has given you the blessing. God qualified you because he's God. And he does not have to explain to anybody. So don't you spend time trying to explain what you cannot explain. Jacob was unusual. We know in the text he was the youngest. By all standards and all customs of the time, he didn't qualify for what God had placed on him. He didn't qualify for what God had placed on him. This blessing will cause you to be ridiculed. This blessing will cause people to talk about you, even when they don't understand that what you got on you, you never asked for. If it was left up to you, you stay in obscurity. I stay who I am. I have become accustomed, in our minds, we become accustomed to just being the one that nobody ever looks at, by the one that nobody ever talks about. We built up that wall where it doesn't matter. But here's what we got to understand. When God puts it on me, when God puts it on me, it causes me to rise even when I don't want to. It's nothing that I ask for. It's something that God says. And when God designs and says it is time to move, God will move. Now, Jacob's life, the unusual life, the youngest, the unqualified by all standards, had to hear his entire life. You are a deceiver. You are a supplanter. You are a heel grabber. In other words, everything that you got, you stole it. Everything that you are, you don't deserve it. This is what the blessing will cause to happen, because when God chooses whom he chooses, men don't understand. This is why you need to prepare yourself in prayer, because God is catapulting you right now into a situation that you didn't ask for. It's called the favor of the blessing that you are carrying on your life. Number one, as in all of the stories of everyone that had the blessing, the first order of business is separation. Watch this now. Separation, separation, separate. God will separate you at his own desire. And most time, he don't even alert you that he's about to separate you. You just find that people are falling off. Why are they falling off? Your mind might say they are important for my next. In God's mind, he's saying they are very detrimental to the place that I'm trying to take you. Separation is number one. People start falling off. I got to get you prepared for what God is trying to do. His first move, God's first move when bringing you into purpose, is separating you from people. If you'll sing the separation now for no reason at all, the worst thing you could do is try to reconnect what God has detached. You trying to reconnect what God has detached is the greatest problem that you're going to have, because what you think is your thoughts are not God's thoughts. He already knows where and when and what he's trying to do, and more often than not, he don't tell you in detail. This is why scripture suggests that I must have faith in God's assignment on my life. In other words, I must trust him when I can't trace him. Get ready. You are on your way to the most incredible exchange from God. Separation, the life of the blessed one, or the one that carries the blessing, always start unusually. It's not a usual event. What you see in your life are not things that everybody can discern right off the bat. So God separates you. Why does he separate me? Because he's trying to get me to a place where he can give me definition without using the definitions of the common, or how this should happen. Because if he allows me to do what is already done, that means that I'm getting what has already been gotten. And what God is trying to give you is much more greater than that. Please hear this. So he separates you. Now, please hear this. Hear this. Don't let your island become your why land. In other words, when God puts you on an island, don't you question God in that season. When you are on your island, don't you let it become a why land. Don't you dare start questioning God. Why did you have to move them? Why did this happen? Embrace the moment, because God is doing something right now. As time goes by, you'll be able to grasp it. You'll say, oh, thank you, God, because if it was left up to me, I would have never made that decision. If it was left up to me, I would have never said to them that they got to go. I thought I was nothing without them. God is about to show you who you are, but it takes separation. This is why every time he speaks future to any person that he is using for greatness, he puts them on an island. He puts them on an island. Don't let your separation, your island, become a wildland. Meaning, don't question God in this season. Just trust that He's got you. Trust that He knows more about this journey than you know. The blessing of God that is on your life will make you very attractive. Please believe you'll have people coming for you that don't care about you. It's just that they see, most of the time, they don't even know why am I so attracted. It's the blessing that you have. It's an indicator that I've got something. I've got something. I am carrying something, and it's great. Now he removes you from the familiar. This is why God separates you, because He removes you from what is familiar in your life. He's trying to reprogram something in you that you have been fed your entire life. You can't do it. You don't qualify. You ain't this. You the last one. You all of those things. God put you on an island because He's reprogramming. He's reprogramming. He puts you in isolation, and then He takes you out of isolation and put you into separation. Why? Because He's sculpturing something. And God does this by His own personal hand. He does not need the assistance of anybody when He begin to create the masterpiece that you are. He does not need assistance. You are attractive to people when you carry the blessing. You are attractive to people. If you're not careful, when you're in your desire to always be accepted, you'll have people speaking into your life that you always desire to be around, and you won't even recognize that they are saying things to position themselves in your life when you are actually the carrier of the blessing. Please hear this. So God separate you. He puts you on an, again, island. Please don't let your island become a wildland. Don't question God in these moments. Trust Him that He is sculpturing you, because the timing right now is right for God to separate. Every life, every beginning in the life of God, of ones that God has called for greatness, is unusual, uncommon. So God has to separate you from what is called common. Abraham, leave your father, kindred house, because I'm removing you from what is common in your life, because I'm about to give you an uncommon life. And you are a product of your environment. If you hang or maintain, that's going to be your outcome. So God puts you on the. I am stressing this because some of you right now, you are feeling the pull of God. You are feeling and seeing God detach things that you thought you could not live without. And He's showing you. God has sent you to a season of detachment, and you of things you thought you would not be able to live without. And now you're discovering, I made it. In other words, He's trying to show you, you carry the blessing. You carry the blessing. You are attractive because of what you carry. Even when you cannot define it, it is still on your life. Most of the time, the people that carry the blessing are talked about, abused by people, when the person that's carrying didn't even ask for what I carry. It's because it was the choice of God on your life. You did not choose you, God did. So you have to be aware. You are attractive. I know they say you never look good. I know they say you never, but when you get the blessing, or the blessing of God start operating in your life, you become attractive. Now listen to this very carefully. This season is so important, and it's vital that you hear God in the spirit. Now, please hear this. You got to hear, there's something that God is going to erupt in your spirit that's not going to make sense in your natural. So you're going to have to hear Him in the spirit. This is what faith is all about, is believing something in your spirit that has not appeared to the natural, or have not been manifested in the natural world. This is why it's important that you hear God in the spirit. This is going to allow you to tolerate what you are going through in your physical. Please hear this. Please hear this. What you hear in your spirit will allow you to endure what you're tolerating right now in your physical. And this is very vital. This is why He separated you, because He needed to speak something into your spirit. More often than not, because of our beginnings, or because of what we've been told our whole life, we have gotten prompts from God in our spirit. But the outside voices were such incredible influences in our life that we ignored what God was dropping in our spirit. And he separates you because he wants to be the only voice that you hear. This is why you are feeling and seeing the detachments of God. And this is not an indictment against you. This is the blessing of God on you. He knows it's time for you to move into that life. And so he detects the worst thing you can do is go back and repair. Oh man, there are people that are connected and there's people that are attached. He's about to change the attachments on your life. Now, he removes you from all the voices of influence. Now, notice I want to bring something to the forefront again that I spoke on the life of Jacob again. This will affect, if you don't separate, these voices will affect your time of devotion. Yes, you know the story of Jacob. He leaves running because he hears the voices of how unfair and how deceptive he was. Because everybody didn't hear that God prophesied to his mother before. God told Rebecca, you got two nations or two natures in your womb. The elder going to serve the younger. Everybody didn't listen to that. They just thought he was unfair because he got the blessing, something that he didn't desire. It's something that God put on you. You're going to feel the effects as Jacob did. But if you're listening to the voices, God always will separate you. This is very important. When God get ready for you to move, you already got in-house haters. Man, in-house haters are already there. That's why Jesus said that your greatest battle would come inside the house. The familiar, in other words. But God says, I've got to give you in-house haters. Why? Because in the house is where you're comfortable. And if you didn't have in-house haters, you would always run to the house, the familiar, to get shelter from the outside forces. So I give you in-house haters to make sure you don't stay in the house. This is what happened to Jacob. Jacob had a brother named Esau. Remember, every other time I was able to run to the house and get shelter from the outside enemies. But when you get ready to move, the haters got a key to the house too. Esau got a key to the same house. So you can't run in the house, the familiar, to hide from the enemy. The enemy is in the house. This is because God is trying to make sure you get out of the house. You get out of the familiar. It's time for you to leave. So he implants out. This is so important that you hear this. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised who say what in this season of your life. Stay focused on the plan of God concerning you. Stay focused on the plan of God concerning you. Stay focused. Stay focused. Prepare now for the greatest exchange of your life. So if you are listening to the voices, they can affect your devotion. And this is where you get the next step from, is in your devotion. Jacob wakes up after running because his father said, you better leave because you got a hater in the house. It's time for the journey to begin. In other words, it's time for the journey to begin. Jacob runs, and the scripture says he comes to a very uncomfortable place, a very rocky place. The Bible says that he takes a stone to make a pillar out of a stone, a very rough thing. This season of your life might be very rough in your transitioning out of the house because you got hate in the house. It might be very rough, but you're going to discover that dream is happening again. God is speaking to you in these very uncomfortable positions that you're in. This is why you got to be very careful that you don't judge God by men. You don't think that God has got a sanction out against you when actually he's just shifting you. There's no sanction. There's a shifting. He's shifting you out of your current into your new. And sometimes in the beginning, it's very uncomfortable because he's trying to change the way that you do business. He's making it uncomfortable for a moment, but the uncomfortable moment is worth the shifting of God. He comes to a very uncomfortable place. He's sleeping on the rocks. He's making a rock out of his pillow. But he discovers, I'm dreaming again. I got my dream back. Here it is. I'm uncomfortable. The very fact that I moved out of the house, I got my dream back. The very fact that I moved out of the uncomfortable, I got my dream back. God created a situation with an in-house hater to get me out of my house, to get me out of this place that I love, this place that I just, or things were familiar. I didn't have to really work real hard. It was just by me being there. Everything was put on my plate. But here's next season, God is opening up new opportunities. He says, now you're going to lead, and I'm going to make sure everything work in your favor. In other words, everybody that is pushing you right now is pushing and is working in your favor. You might not be able to interpret it, but go at the prompting of God. So he gets his dream back. But here's the thing. If you are listening or if you are governing yourself by old voices, here's what happened in your moment of devotion when God is showing you the future. He wakes up and says, surely the Lord was in this place. This is Genesis 28:16. And I almost missed the moment because I'm hearing the voices of people tell me that who I am and where I am and the blessing I carry, I don't deserve it because I am unqualified for it. Please hear this. It will affect your devotion. This is why God separates you, because he wants you to hear him, not them. He wants you to hear him and not them. He's creating a position for you right now that is unfair. But you always told me favor wasn't fair anyway. So what God has given you might be interpreted as unfair. Just don't you get distracted by the voices. Don't you allow the voices to distract you in the season. Don't you get caught up in the season. Now, watch this. God separates you because good, but faulty advice in this season of your life will cause you to be in relationships that prolong the wait or the time of you entering into your destiny. I got to get that into you. Good, but faulty. This is why God separated, because this good, but faulty information causes you to be in relationship with people that will delay or prolong the time that you would be able to walk into this destiny moment. Jacob, again, because of the advice of his father-in-law, started producing babies with Leah. That was not part of the plan. But because of faulty advice, because it was advice from what is common, advice from what is familiar. This is why God, again, I got to get this separating you, because there's too many voices from a place called common, a place called regular, that you are allowing to influence you and cause you to be in relationship with things there. Again, Leah, limited vision. You are producing at the advice of someone else with people with limited vision, because you can't see yourself outside of what is common, because it never happened for anybody at the level that God is allowing it to happen for you. So I listen, be very careful, again, of people. When your life has started unusual, you've seen the unusual hand of God on your life, try to bring you back to a place that is called common. Please be advised. So good advice. This is why you're seeing separation. Don't despise this moment in God, because he's taking you somewhere that is unusual. Listening to those that don't understand, man, that don't understand the uniqueness of God and the calling on your life, man. This uniqueness of God on your life is causing you to be shifted. He's shifting you. You are preferred. Watch this. You are shifted by God because God prefer you. Now, when you understand what preferred is, does not mean that you are the most qualified. It's just that God prefer you. That's what favor is. It's who God prefers. Please get this. And favor ain't fair. You have been preferred by God on your job. You've been preferred by a job, perhaps in your family. That was not something that you were able to do. That's something that God was able to do. What is your part in this? I've got to believe God and trust God and attach to what God has said. I did not create this life. God created you. Now, if you don't, please hear this. If you don't hear God, if you're taking the advice from those that are trying to put you in a common place or put you in a traditional place, because this is the way that it had to be done. And God has already shown you that your life is uncommon. The way that your life started out was unusual. Be very careful. Here's a product of listening to people that don't grasp the uniqueness that you carry, the blessing that you carry. It's not based off your current situation. This is just the beginning. Don't you judge anything by what you're going through right now. You don't judge anything by what you're going through right now. You don't judge anything by what you're going through right now. You are getting revelation that is changing you and allowing you to live outside your current situation. Here's what is important. If I listen to the good advice of those that don't understand what they title, I don't care what they've been doing, what you have is unique. You are blazing a trail. You're not going down a trail that is already blazed. You are unique in your calling. If you don't understand, or you don't come aside, or you don't allow God to separate you, to speak to you in your devotional moment, here's what happened. You fight your entire life to get that you already possess. I'm going to say it again. If you don't allow God to explain in your personal life to you what you have, you will fight your entire life to get what you already possess. You already have the blessing. It's already on you. Let me read something to verify this. This is Genesis, the 32nd chapter. I'm going to read the 24th verse. And Jacob was left alone. Watch the separation. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Now, just imagine that. Just imagine that. Just imagine that. Jacob is wrestling with an angel for a blessing when he left his house with the blessing. But when you're rehearsing in your mind over and over again, all of the things that people said about you, they said you were not qualified. They said you were not the one that should have what you have. They said that you got this by deception. They said all manner of things. If you rehearse this through your mind, because people don't understand what God has placed on you. Remember, the prophecy about Jacob long before he came out of his mother's womb, that he would be the leader in his family. It said that the elders shall serve the younger. This was a God sanction. This was a God plan. But if you don't understand what God has said about you and the uniqueness, you will fight your whole life trying to position yourself, taking down to things, doing all kind of things to be accepted into something that you already possess. You already got. Jacob wrestled with this angel and said, I won't let go until you bless me. You already got. The angel says, you already got the blessing. You're already in possession of it. You just got to understand what you are in possession of. This is why God separates. Man, I'm pushing that. This is why God separates you, because he's going to define to you what it is that you have. He's going to tell you what it is that you carry. And God is going to make it, I pray, that you don't worry about what people think about, what the naysayers say, what people that don't get it, what they have to say, what their opinion is. I pray that you won't even focus on that any longer. Now, let me read something really quickly. I got to move, man. I got to read something very quickly again into your hearing to remind you that you are unique. God created you. God positioned you. The favor that you have is very attractive. You might not have been accepted in anything prior to now, but since God is bringing the favor to light in your life, there's going to be the attraction of all kind of people with all kind of ideas to show you what they can do for you, because they recognize you got the blessing already. Don't judge by your current situation. That is not the determining factor. What God has given you, he gave it to you at your birth. Now is the time, the acceptable time that he's about to bring it into manifestation. Don't you get it twisted. Now I want to read something very quickly out of the New Living Translation, 1 Corinthians, first chapter again, to remind you of what God is saying to you. Because if you're not careful, you will listen to the wisdom of the wise and you will put yourself in a position that is far from what God has said about you. This is 1 Corinthians, first chapter, 25th verse. Why do I use scripture? Because it's the word of God. You can stand on it. If God said it, that settles it. It's yours. And he's saying it about you. You are the blessed of God. Favor ain't fair. So embrace your moment because the ride is about to begin. He's about to bring you into what you've been praying for your entire life. Now is your time. 25th, the first verse of 1 Corinthians, 25th verse. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. I love this version. It says, the foolish plan of God is wiser than the wisest plan of man. To everybody, who you are and what you've been called to do is foolishness. But it's God's plan. And God's weakness is stronger than the greatest of human strength. If God said it, he's more than the world against you. Don't worry about what they say about you. 26th verse says, remember, dear brothers and sisters, that few of you were wise in the world's eyes. You were not the one that would be chosen if the world, if your family, if your friends were to choose the one that is carrying the blessing, you wouldn't be the one. That's all it's saying. That few of you were wise in the world's eyes or powerful or wealthy when God called you. God didn't call you because you already possessed. God called you because he was going to possess you. Here it is, the 27th verse. Instead, God chose things the world considered foolish in order to shame those who think they are wise. And he chose things that are powerless to shame those who are powerful. Yeah, it's not a surprise that your life started out unusual. It's not surprising that you were not the one. You were the most unlike. It's not. That's what God uses when he's getting ready to do something incredible. You take the weak things, because with you coming into this, the world is going to know that this was an act and a move of God. In other words, God will get the glory out of this move in your life. So it was God that did it. This is what you got to tell yourself when you hear the thing. It was God that did it. So I'm going to walk confidently in it. It wasn't my design. It was God's design. So I'm going to walk confidently in it. I've got the blessing. I've got the blessing. And the blessing is upon my life. And I'm not going to apologize what God has said about me. I'm going to hear what he's saying. Now, let me move forward. Let me move forward. Let me move forward. Please go back and hear this and listen to this again. Let me move forward. Now, Joseph. I want to talk about Joseph. This is the fourth in the line of the blessing. Now, we understand that even in Isaac's life, there was a brother before Isaac. His name was Ishmael. Abraham had a son before Isaac, Ishmael. But didn't worry. The blessing came to Isaac. Here it is. Jacob. Isaac got two sons, Esau and Jacob. But the way that God does things is foolish to the world. It's out of custom. But God didn't ask anybody if he could do what he's going to do. That's why you're not going to apologize, because God is sanctioning you to be who you are. Joseph, now, on the other hand, is the fourth one in the line of the blessing. Joseph. I need you to see this. I need you to see this. Joseph is the 11th. Now watch this. The 11th son of Jacob. The 11th son of Jacob. Now watch God. He's going all the way down and picking all the way down to the 11th son. This is God. He can pick. It could be several people before you, but if it's God's design for you to be the one, he'll go pick whomever he wants. Now here it is. Joseph is the 11th son in the line of sons. And God says, let me land on Joseph. I'm going to put my blessing on Joseph. And I'm not apologizing to the other. It doesn't matter to God. This is why you got to embrace your moment, because God can choose who he wants, when he wants, and how he wants. And I'm going to walk in it with confidence, without apology. God chose me. You got to tell yourself, God chose me. When every hateful statement, every hateful act arises in your life because you got something that God gave you, I pray that you have the ability to shake it off and stay focused on your goal, because you are carrying something that is about to open major doors for you, and you cannot be distracted. Now here it is. Joseph is favored. He's the 11th son. God reached and went past all of those and landed on Joseph. You are feeling this right now. You were landed on. The favor landed on you because God chose you. Now remember something. Favor ain't fair. Favor ain't fair. Favor ain't fair. Favor will cause you to be despised. You gotta understand. I'm just warning you that doesn't mean anything. It'll cause you to be despised. It's because you're not understood. You're despised when you're not understood. You're despised when people don't understand. It was God that did this, not me. I wouldn't have chose myself either. But since God decided he was going to do it, I'm going to embrace it. Now, watch this. The problem happened when you begin to tell people, here's the problem. Please, Joseph was favored, and he began to tell people about his dream, This is so important that you get this. I love this story because it is such a beautiful story, and it's paralleling what some of you are experiencing now. God had reached over, looked over, walked over, and he landed on you. Something you didn't ask for, but he says, I chose you. I want you to do this. Joseph has a dream. But some of you are having a dream again. You're dreaming like you never dreamed before. You're wondering, why am I dreaming? Because God gave you. He's put that thing in you. He's given you a dream. Here's the most important thing that you got to realize, that when God gives you a dream, Joseph, let me read this to really bring some context to this really quick. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna start at the 37th chapter. This is Joseph's story. The 37th chapter of Genesis 37:3. I'm gonna read this. I want you to see this. Please see this. Genesis 37:3. Now Israel, who is Jacob, his name was changed after the wrestle with the angel. He changed his name from Jacob to Israel. Yes, Jacob, Israel. This is where we get the 12 tribes, or the 12 sons of Jacob, who are Israel. 12 tribes. Now, there's some revelation there, and I got to emphasize this. Please hear this. Jacob wrestles with the angel. The angel changes his name from Jacob to Israel. From Jacob, the supplanter, deceiver, to Israel, a prince with God. In other words, God knows you. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly what you've done prior life. Here's the important thing about it. Jacob and Israel, the same person. Jacob, first part of his life. Israel, second part of his life. Here's what God does. Jacob, the deceiver, the first part. Israel, the receiver. God knows both parts of you. When he gets ready to put the blessing on your life, he'll take that was a deceiver and turn it into a receiver. That's what you're seeing right now. So this is why you cannot focus on what you were. You got to focus on where you're going. And so here it is. Joseph, I wanted to emphasize that. Joseph is the love son of Jacob. The Bible says this, now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Watch how important this is. He was the son of his old age. Well, that was true because Jacob had 10 sons before he had Joseph. Here's the thing. He was not only the son of his old age, but he was the product of something that he had love for first. Joseph is the first son of Rachel, whom Jacob loved from the moment he saw her. This is what's about to happen in your life. God is about to give you birth with the first love, the thing that he originally told you. You're about to see a birth in there, and you're going to love it. This is why Jacob loved Joseph, because he finally gave birth with something of his first love. And God is bringing you back because the dream that you had. Now notice this. It says the son of his old age. I want to speak to those that think your time has passed. Here it is. Jacob is giving birth in his old age. You're about to give birth in your old age. So for those of you that thought the time had passed you by. It has not passed you by yet. Get ready. So he loved Joseph more than he loved the other brothers. The fourth verse says, and when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all of his brethren, what happened? They hated on him. The Bible said they hated on him and could not speak on him peaceably. Do you know how incredible this is? This is where the whole hater thing came from. Is because the brethren who should love you see that you possess something, you are favored. This is going to happen more often than not. The people that you thought would love you, when they see the favor of God on your life, they start hating you. And the Bible says they could not even speak peaceably about their younger brother. This is said for you not to get distracted in this moment. It's for you to recognize that, hey, look, it is what it is. I'm going to stay focused on the blessing. I'm going to stay focused on the favor that God has afforded me to have. I didn't choose the moment. Why did God skip over 10 brethren to come to Jacob? It was a God choice. We don't know why. It's just that favor ain't fair. But here it is. And I'm finished. I love this story. I'm finished here. Joseph, who is favorite of his father, who is the youngest of all the brothers. Please hear this. Had a dream. As a matter of fact, the scripture says he had a couple of dreams. The first dream, he dreamed that they were collecting sheaves. They were harvester, and they were harvesting sheaves, and he had bundled his sheaves up, and his brother's sheaves bowed down to him. Now this is incredible. Let me explain to you why. He just announced to his brothers that you guys are going to bow down to me one day. And it's very powerful. Now, just imagine a 16, 17-year-old boy telling his older brothers who are grown now that you are going to bow to me. Here's what you got to get. And I want you to understand, God is going to give you the boldness in this season of your life to speak something that you've never been able to say before. He's going to give you a dream, and he's going to give you the boldness to speak the dream. And it's not going to be based off where you are right now. Remember, Joseph is the youngest. By all accounts, he's the least regarded in his family. But now he's bold enough. Now watch this. You got to hear this. God gave him a spirit of arrogance. Wow, this is very powerful. He was arrogant enough at 16, 17 to speak what he was going to be. Not that he was there right now. This is what's going to happen. You would never say this. You would never be bold enough, considering who you are and where you are in your life right now, and the people that are ahead of you and what they got and how much they got and how successful they are. You would never be able to announce this blessing. Watch what happens. God is going to give you an arrogant spirit. Now people say, Pastor, I can't believe that you said God would give you an arrogant spirit. Well, the scripture said God is a jealous God. Well, so many times when we see scripture and we think about things, we always apply our 2018 thought pattern on him. But notice this, arrogant. He's given him the spirit. This had to be God for Joseph to have enough gumption, enough audacity to tell his brothers, you're going to serve me? Really? This was the spirit of arrogance that God put down. Now let me explain the definition of arrogance before you get upset with me. Now, if you go to the Oxford Dictionary, the word arrogance is having or revealing an excavated sense of one's own importance or ability. In other words, he's standing and he's speaking with boldness from a position that is unlikely, a position that under normal circumstances, he was not qualified to speak from. But when the Spirit of God comes upon him, he announces, hey, I got a dream. I'm going to be great. So great that everybody around me is going to serve me. Now, watch this. If that wasn't enough, God gives him another dream. He goes and he dreams again. And the Bible says that his brothers hated him because he told them the dream. Like, how dare this young man, this boy, tell me that he's going to be in a position like that? How you're going to hear it the same thing. When God gives you the boldness to speak out the dream, there's going to be a time when he's going to say it. And you're going to know it ain't me that would have the audacity to say it. It's going to be the Spirit of God. Announce your future from where you stand. Watch this. He's going to say, announce your future from where you stand. Speak a word of faith that's going to defy your current situation. Say it. Say it now. It's only the Spirit of God. And so many times we got to announce right now what we know God is giving us. And so he says, then he has another dream. He says, I had a dream that the sun, the moon, and the stars. Now his father interprets his dream. He says, now you are telling me that your mother and I and your brothers are going to bow down to you. Can you imagine the audacity that it took for God to push Joseph into announcing from his current place that I'm gonna be in a position one day that don't look like it right now, but I'm telling you, I'm going to be in a place that it don't look like this. I'm gonna be in a place because I got the blessing on my life. Now watch this. This is what Joseph just done to his brethren and to his father. He says, I'm declaring my prosperous future from this unpredictable present. Wow. And watch this. I am declaring my prosperous future even when I got an unpredictable present. I'm speaking words of faith because I house the blessing. I recognize that where I am right now don't affect where God is taking me. I'm in process. I'm in the process of moving into greater life. Now watch this. This was God's promise concerning him. So he had to stand on it. You're going to have to stand on what God said, even when your right now don't look like it. You're going to have to stand on what God is saying, even though your right now don't look like it. Here's the thing. I want you to recognize and I want you to see. Joseph just spoke of his prosperous through boldness, through arrogance. He just blurted out his dream, and he did it with such confidence that his brothers actually believe what he said. You're about to say something that's going to defy and it's going to surprise everybody that's around you. What are you going to do? You're going to speak your prosperous future, even though you are living an unpredictable right now. It don't look like it, but faith is going to cause me to speak it. I'm going to say it because I am going to see it. Why? Because here it is. You are living the blessing. You're living the blessing. Now, here's what you got to understand. I get the position because of God's promise. Watch this. I get the position because of God's promise. But I operate there forever because I am humble. Please, I get the position, I got the blessing because of God's promise, but I'm going to live in it continually because I am humble. I'm speaking my prosperous future even though I live an unpredictable right now. This is very important that you get this. God gave Joseph the boldness, the arrogance to speak on something from his right now that he don't qualify for. He allowed him to speak. I have the boldness to declare where I'm going. And only God can do this. But here's the thing, and I'm going to end it with this. This is what so many of you are experiencing right now. God is giving you what will be interpreted arrogant when you make the statement of your prosperous future. When you are having an unpredictable right now, people gonna call you crazy because you dare to declare what God has shown you in the dream. You dare to say, this is where I'm going. You can judge me right now. You can say whatever you want to say, but it won't be long before you're going to see me in the blessing of God, because God promised me a position, and then you be despised. God will give you that arrogance to pronounce, because he knows this is the spirit you're going to need to make this announcement. But here's the thing. You got it through promise, but you can actually live it through being humble. So here's what's happening to you. God has allowed you to make a declaration from your right now. And so what he does, he gives you that pit experience. Bam. Your brothers sell you, throw you in a pit. And then they say, this is what's happening to you. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, you are still the blessed. Yeah, you did make the announcement. Yeah, you were living out. Yes, you're speaking on your future. But now you just hit a pit. Wow. Because God knows that to live out what he promised, you're going to have to be humble. And he just gave you the boldness, the arrogance to speak it. But now you're living in a pit. Why? Because by the time Joseph actually gets to the palace of the place of promise that God promised him when he was young, or as a young lad, he wasn't telling his brothers that you're going to bow down to me now. He's telling his brothers there's going to be a day that I'm going to be a blessing to you. It ain't today, but I got to announce it today. I got to be arrogant now in my announcement. But God knows that I can't walk into the blessing until I am humble. So watch this. You announce the blessing and now you're in the pit. Why? Because the pit experience will cause you to be humble. You go from the pit to Potiphar's house, from Potiphar's house to the prison. Because by the time you get to the palace, God then shifted everything about it. Now you're humble enough to live in the moment. You got it through promise, but you live it because you're humble. And for those of you that are in the pit right now, it's called the process of God to get you to the palace. Don't you discard this moment, because God is shifting some things. He calls you in the beginning to say some things. He calls you in the beginning to act outside of yourself, because he needed to declare some things about you to surprise some people, because they know by your own power and strength you couldn't get it, but you had to say it to shock them into saying, wow. Then the pit comes. You might be in the pit right now. You might be in a Potiphar's house in a situation that you don't want to be in. Some of you might be in the prison right now, but God guarantees me that I'm going into the palace, and he's humbling me through my experiences right now. So don't despise your current experience. It is God working something out in you that's far greater than you can even understand or imagine right now. Let God do the work, and the work will be done. Let God do what God is doing. Now, I want to show you the tone change in Joseph real quick. I got to get this. There's a tone change because he's experienced thing. First, at 17 years old, he make a declaration. I'm going and I'm going to be the head man. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be at the top of the totem pole. Yes, me. That's Joseph made the announcement, but God gave him the pit, Potiphar's house, prison, before he goes to the palace. Notice this, how the tone has changed, and it's all the power of God. Watch this. Genesis 41:16. So Pharaoh has the dream. Nobody can interpret it, and then Joseph is introduced to Pharaoh because he's got the gifting. He's got the gifting. He's got the gift. These are all the things that are part of the blessing, things that you didn't ask for, that God put as a part of your blessing package, that he's about to bring to the forefront, things that you didn't know you had, but your extreme situation caused some things to come alive in you. Your pit, your Potiphar house, your prison experience will allow things to come alive that you thought was never there. And God used the most unusual times and places to show you that you're favored. He showed that he had favor in Potiphar's house. Potiphar discovered that he had favor. He showed him he had a gift in the prison. Joseph started interpreting dreams in the prison. In the most unlikely places, God will bring your gift alive. But notice how Joseph changed the way he said things. Remember, bold early on, but here it is. He's ready to go into the promise, which is the palace. Notice Pharaoh had a dream, and he's brought before Pharaoh, and he's about to speak before Pharaoh. Notice what he says. Don't get it twisted. The 16th verse of Genesis 41:16. And Joseph answered Pharaoh. He's standing. Here's the moment. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, "It is not in me. It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace." Oh, this is so powerful. The tone has changed. I'm arrogant in the beginning because God had to have me bold enough to speak what he said. But now I've been through some experiences. I know who God really is because of the experiences. I don't care. I was in the prison. I was interpreting dreams. Everybody could say, "Ben, you are great." But notice, it's time for me to go in the palace. I got to have a humble spirit. Joseph said, don't get it twisted. Don't listen to what everybody told you. It's not by me. I don't have the power to do anything. I'm just a vessel of God. If I speak it out of my mouth and it's incredible, it's not because I'm so good. It's not because I'm so great. It's only because of the greatness and the choosing of God that I can stand in this moment and speak humbly, humbly, humbly. The experiences cause him to speak humbly. And when you are humble, the spiritual law is, if I humble myself, God will exalt me. So prepare yourself. Really, here's the thing. Prepare yourself for what you already carry. Prepare yourself in what you already carry. Get ready for it. God has already supplied the position for you. Don't let your current experiences allow you to think that God is against you. He's preparing you for the palace because that's what he promised you early. Now, you're going to have to make declarations of your prosperous future. Even when you live in uncertain right nows, you're going to have to make a declaration out of your mouth that it will happen for me. The process that I'm in, it's a process from God, but everything I go through in this process is catapulting me into God's promise for my life. You live with the blessing. You were chosen by God to carry the blessing. I looked over a lot. That's not your fault. That's God. Tell them to ask God about it. What you do is focus on, how do I maximize what God has placed on me? Doors are opening right now for you. You're going to have to get prepared for it. Now, you're going to have to get yourself together. You're going to have some sessions with yourself, and you're going to say, God did this. Ain't nothing I can do about it, even if I wanted to. God is positioning you in this season of your life. You have the favor of God. You've gone through process. God allowed you to make some announcements about yourself. He allowed you to declare something that under normal circumstances you would never declare. But God gave you the boldness to speak it. You declare your prosperous future, even though you're living in an uncertain right now. By faith, you're going to move into this moment. So prepare for unusual exchanges. Prepare for unusual. Pharaoh was the most powerful man in the world. Joseph was a prisoner. Joseph was the youngest in his family, the most unlikely in his own family. How do someone that is unlikely in your family come to the place that you're standing before the most powerful man in the world? And he makes a declaration. He discards all that you've been through. Only you are saying what can't happen because of what I've been through. But when God has gifted you, when God has given you the blessing, those that he allowed you to stand before recognize, Joseph is despised or discarded by everybody en route to Pharaoh. Why? Because it takes one to know one. Please don't get it twisted. When you're standing before people that have not recognized or can't interpret what God has placed on you, don't get upset with them. Keep it moving, because there's eventually you're going to get in front of somebody that recognizes who you are. Pharaoh recognized who Joseph was because God had given, and God had him in the right place at the right time. His dream was not to be in Potiphar's house. His dream was not in a pit. His dream was not in prison. He had to keep that at the forefront. I can't die here because this is not what God promised me. God promised me that one day my brothers would bow down. I will be in a position of rule. And actually, we're not that I want to rule my brothers, but he's positioning me actually to save their life. And God sent me through an unusual route. And Joseph told his brothers, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because I know everything that happened in my life is because God was doing something that I didn't understand at the time. You have the blessing. Thank God for the blessing. Move forward. Prepare to move. Prepare. Don't discount the unusual things that you're going through. All things work together for good to them that love him. Let's pray together. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this word. Thank you for the incredible people that are listening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. God, I recognize that if I said something that people interpret as incredible, it is only because there are incredible listeners. You speaking to them, the incredible ones that are listening. So I thank you for the opportunity that you allow me to speak. Speak, God, that in this next season of our life, God, we be more focused on your plan for us, more focused on what you're saying to us. Let us not let the momentary distractions and trials of our life distract us from the big picture. If you said it, that settles it. We're going to lock in through faith because we're going to live that life that you said. If we can get focused, we are able to live it. And I thank you for the focus that you've given each of us that are listening on today. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen. Thank you guys today again for listening. The blessing, you carry the blessings of God on your life. God chose you. So live it without apology. Live it. Maximize this moment. Maximize this moment. Again, I want to invite you to go to my YouTube page, Pastor G at Network of Believers. I got a video there called Faithful Friday. I got another video that I'm uploading for my YouTube viewers. Go there. Subscribe so you can get a notification when I upload. I got videos I'm uploading to it right now. I want you to be a part of that if you will. This is the most blessed time of your life. Don't let your circumstance say anything other than I'm living. Make the declaration of your prosperous future, even if you are in an uncertain present. Make the declaration by faith. Thank you, Raina, Atlanta. Thank you, Leah, so much. San Francisco, our sister Leah in San Francisco. Sarah, New York, New Jersey, New York. Nitra, Sean, thank you guys so much. Sandra Jones, thank you so much for being in the house. Pastor DJ John, safe travels to you. Marlo, we love you. Marlo, blessings of God to you. Brother John Johnson, thank you so much. Yolanda Carter, Diller, thank you so much for being out. Pastor Angela Thomas, God sent greetings. Thank you so much for being in the house. Who is Latasha Anderson? Thank you so much for your support. Thank you guys so much. Who else is in here? Thank God for my mother being in the house. Pastor Deron Thomas, thank you so much. Who else? Merlon, my brother-in-law. He got a new record out, guys. Go check out Merlon new record. Amen. Incredible. Who else is in here? Sandra Jones. Did I say Sandra? Thank you, Sandra Jones, so much. Who else? I always acknowledge people because you could be doing so many other things and you are listening. Jazzy got a business as well. She got candles. Jazzy, we all are inspired by Jazzy, a young lady that is focused on the plan of God. Thank you so much, Jazzy. Thank you so much. For those of you that want to give, my wife has put Teresa Divine Whitmore. Go there. There's an opportunity to do it there. James Epsom, thank you so much for being in the house. Terry Sanders, my brother, thank you so much. Sherry Holloway. Kanisha Hatton, thank you so much, Kanisha. Aunt S, thank you so much for being in the house. Makisha Gatewood, Kiki, thank you so much. We're praying for you, Kiki and the family. Terrence Wales, what's up, Terrence? What's up? Ryan Harris, thank you so much for being in the house. Who else? I want to acknowledge everybody. Shiki is in the house. Gayla Brown. That's all my phone will let me go at. Thank you guys so much. This is the weekend. Have a blessed Friday. This is a faithful Friday. Tomorrow, this weekend. Happiness is always a choice. You have to choose to be happy. Make that your choice. That I'm going to be happy in spite of. I'm going to be happy. I don't care what it looks like. I'm going to be happy. Now, 1111 West 7th Street, downtown Little Rock, Arkansas is where Network Believers, the church that I pastor. If you love this, you would really love being in the atmosphere with believers. Thank you, Belinda, Pastor B, Children's Church Pastor. Thank you for being in the house. Network of Believers, 1111 West 7th Street. We would love to have you visit us. Come and be our special guest on this Sunday. 1111 West 7th Street, downtown Little Rock, Arkansas. 501-744-5908 is our number. All right. I am out of here. Holla. Have the blessed weekend that you deserve. Faithful Friday. Believe that it's going to happen. Excuse me. Thank you so much. Pastor G is out. Holla. I thought